Greetings everyone, today I'm gonna reveal the album The Cancer Pledge by the band October Tide. So before we get into this video, I would like to say that now I'm trying something different. I actually have a little script with some topics I wrote down, and I'm gonna basically follow them throughout the video. I felt a lot of difficulty making the Darkthrone ranking because, well, that band had 19 albums and there was a lot of things for me to say. And because of that video, I decided that from here on out I'm gonna always have a little script ready about the things that I really have to talk about the album. So with that out of the way, without further ado, let's just get into the ranking. So now you can see the artwork here on the side. Actually the artwork is up on the screen, and after you see it here on the side. First of all, it's been some time since I listened to October Tide. After my ranking of their albums 5-6 months ago, I only listened to them twice after that, and that was the album Running Without End, of course. So it's been some time since I listened to this death doom sound, and maybe because of that is the reason why this album sounds interesting. That's right, I find this sounding very interesting. It sounds more unique than the previous two albums, Winged Waltz, one I didn't like one bit, and also the other one, In Splendor Below. Those two albums, as I said in my ranking, they didn't feel unique at all, they felt very generic. Maybe this album right here, this new release, also sounds like that, also sounds like those two albums, but I honestly can't tell because it's been so long since I listened to them. So maybe because it's been a long time, or maybe this album really has a unique sound to it, I found it really interesting and I enjoyed some of the songs. The artwork, I'm gonna also talk about the artwork. I don't really like it. It's like this big spider monster thing, and I don't find this artwork as bad as Winged Waltz artwork. It's better than that, but also not really my favorite from the band. Season of Arson was a song that I found really interesting. The percussions on that song, when I was listening to it, it really got my attention. The percussions and such. I had to stop, look at the track list, and write down what song was that with the really good percussions, and it's Season of Arson. So that I really enjoyed. The instruments, they weirdly sound very clean. You know, it's a Death Doom album, and the instruments sound extremely clean. Like I would think that, wow, this is a Death Doom album. The instruments will sound very dirty and distorted and such. Like the early October Tide albums, you know, it wasn't distorted like black metal, but the quality also wasn't perfect. But for this album, I found the instruments extremely clean. Maybe the previous two albums were also had that very clean sound to the instruments, and I just don't remember it. But that was something that stood out for me. My favorite songs in order would be Unprecedented Aggression, Season of Arson, and Breathe the Water. Those three songs would be my favorite ones. Unprecedented Aggression, I believe it's the one that has the mostly different sort of vocals. I'm gonna talk about that shortly, but I really like the vocals on that song and just the overall music. I really enjoyed it. Season of Arson, as I already talked about the song, it has the really interesting percussions and such. I really enjoyed them. And after that we have Breathe the Water, which is the song that closes the album, if I'm not mistaken. Really enjoyed that song. It closed the album in a really good manner. And also something else I'm gonna talk about the song I Know I Am Cold is that it reminds me a lot of one of my favorite albums from theirs, Tunnel of No Light. That song just reminded me a lot of that album. And you know, it's my second favorite album out of there, so I really enjoyed it as well. A nice song. And also something else that I mentioned previously with Unprecedented Aggression is that this album has a lot of different vocals. It's not just the harsh growls of death metal, but also there is different types of screaming present present in this album, and they reminded me a lot of Mastodon for some reason. I was listening to this album, I got to the song Unprecedented Aggression, the vocals really stood out there. These different vocals are present in virtually in every song, but they really stand out on Unprecedented Aggression. That's probably why that's my favorite song, because these different vocals reminded me a lot of Mastodon. So Mastodon, really good band. I intend on making a ranking of all of their albums in the future. Not now. I have a lot of bands on my, on the line. I have a lot of albums on the line and a lot of bands on the line that I have to listen before I get to Mastodon. But I intend on listening to them. So that's my review. I would say the artwork not that great, but not that bad. Overall album really good. Much better than their previous two releases. As I said, maybe because it's been a long time since I listened to them, and this album actually sounds exactly like the previous two. Maybe that's what's happening. I believe it is, but as I said, it's been a long time since I listened to those. And I would say my favorite songs, definitely my favorite song, number one, Unprecedented Aggression. Love that. If I were to rate this album, 0 to 10, I would rate it as an 8. Really good album, enjoyed it. If you like Octobertide, probably you enjoyed this album a lot. It, for me, definitely was a step up from their previous releases, and I was surprised by it. When I first got into it, I had small, not really good expectations. But, well, I'm gonna get to the middle now, probably the artwork is out. I didn't have really good expectations for this album. I thought it would sound generic like the previous two releases, but I was surprised, I enjoyed it. And this last week, every once in a while, I tuned this in and kept listening to it, and I found myself going back to Unprecedented Aggression a lot more than the rest of the song. Than the rest of the songs. I really enjoyed that. But overall, solid album. Really enjoyed it. There's no dip in quality. The quality remains pretty much the same throughout the whole thing, and I enjoyed it. Good album. I would recommend you to listen to it. And that's the review for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, smash that subscribe button. That's the first time I ever said that. Smash that subscribe button. Until the next video.